I want to talk to you about America's Christian heritage. That's right. We were founded as a Christian nation. Please excuse me as I have to glance over at my notes on the monitor from time to time as I'm reading these to you because I want to be accurate. In November 1620, when the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, they spent 2 weeks aboard the ship before they disembarked and wrote a document called the Mayflower Compact, explaining their purpose for coming to this new land. It contained this introduction: having undertaken for the glory of God and advancement of the Christian faith and honor of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony. For the advancement of the Christian faith. That's the beginning of the Mayflower Compact. Surely you've heard of that. Patrick Henry, we've all heard of him. He was known as the trumpet of the revolution. He said, "It cannot be emphasized too strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by Christians." Not on religion, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Patrick Henry said that. In 1854, a United States House of Representatives Judiciary Committee report said, had the people during the Revolution had a suspicion of any attempt to war against Christianity, that revolution would have been strangled in its cradle. At the time of the Constitution and the amendments, the universal sentiment was that Christianity should be encouraged, but not any one denomination. Any attempt to level and discard all religion would have been viewed with universal indignation. Religion must be considered as the foundation on which the whole structure rests. In this age, there can be no substitute for Christianity. That was the religion of the founders of the Republic, and they expected it to remain the religion of their descendants. Christianity was the founding religion, and they expected it to remain the religion of their descendants. The original Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Jay, said this: "It is the duty as well as the privilege and interest of our Christian nation to select and prefer Christians for their rulers." That's the original Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Jay. He said that this is not only a Christian nation, but that we need Christian leaders. We should prefer Christian leaders. James Madison, 4th President of the United States, said, "We have staked the whole future of American civilization not on the power of government, far from it. We have staked the future of all our political institutions upon the capacity of each of us and all of us to govern ourselves according to the 10 Commandments of God." That's the 4th President of the United States, James Madison, encouraging everyone to follow the 10 Commandments. How many times have we heard people in official capacities or on the news stating that the First Amendment guarantees the separation of church and state? We hear them say it so often, you actually believe it's in the First Amendment without even reading it. It's not in there. The First Amendment says, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Did you hear separation of church and state in there? The only thing I heard was that the church is protected from the government. That's all it meant. These were people who came from a nation where that their king was considered to be the head of the church. They did not want another system like that. They did not want the king or the president to be the head of the church in the United States. They wanted in the United States that the church would be founded by Christians, not by the government. And that's why they wrote those words. Now, the words separation of church and state do exist in an official document. You say, well, I thought you just said it's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Declaration of Independence. Why didn't you tell us it's in an official document? Because it is in Article 124 of the Constitution of the former Soviet Union. The church in the USSR is separated from the state and the school from the church. So it is official. If you are a communist and live in the former Soviet Union, something that no longer exists. Notice, the First Amendment does not make any reference to what a church or a pastor or a school or a principal can do. It only references what Congress can do to protect the church from the government. In a 1958 court case, Justice Gallagher wrote this, 1958. Much has been written in recent years of a wall of separation between church and state. It has received so much attention that one could almost think at times that it is to be found somewhere in our Constitution. Do you get it? He was saying, this is a Supreme Court Justice, Justice Gallagher, in 1958. He said that so much has been said about a wall of separation between church and state, you would think that it must be in the Constitution, but it's not. It's not. But 11 years before that statement, Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black wrote this, saying the First Amendment has erected a wall between the church and state. No, it hasn't. That wall must be kept high and impregnable. We could not approve the slightest breach. Now, to support his argument, he referenced a letter. Did you hear that? To support a Supreme Court ruling on a court case, he referenced a letter. Not the Constitution. Not the Declaration of Independence, a letter. This is how he used this letter to get the phrase separation of church and state into the Supreme Court so that people would begin, and he was successful. He really successfully got people thinking that there really is in the First Amendment the wording that says there must be a separation of church and state, and it's not in there. But he was very successful at this because he got everyone to believe that it is in the First Amendment, and it's not. But here's the letter that he referenced. It was from Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Association. He said, believing with you that religion is a matter which lies solely between man and his God, that he owes account to none other for faith or his worship, that the legislative powers of government reach actions only and not opinions. Not opinions, not opinions, not opinions. I contemplate with solemn reverence that act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That is the First Amendment he's quoting. Thus, building a wall between church and state. Is he saying that the wall between church and state is to protect the government from the influence of the church of Christians? No. He's saying to the Danbury Baptist Association, you should be protected from government encroachment on your practice of Christianity. The government should not impose itself on your church. The separation of church and state is in the minds of people, but it is not in the Declaration of Independence. It is not in the Constitution. It does not exist in them. It came from a private letter written to a Baptist church by Thomas Jefferson. And a Supreme Court justice extracted it from that letter and inserted it into a Supreme Court ruling, therefore making it a part of our history, but definitely not using it accurately or honestly. Remember, 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, it doesn't say if the Congress or if the Senate or if the President or if the Supreme Court. It says if my people. The future of our nation is not dependent upon the government leaders. The future of our nation is in the hands of God's people. Let's fall on our faces before God and ask Him to bring America back to God. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I want to give you a message that I preached based on the life of the youngest king that Israel ever had, Josiah, who became king at age 8. When he was 18 years old, he turned an entire nation to God. In fact, after his death, God said that no king before or after him had ever sought after God like he did. What caused this young man to be transformed into such a mighty man of God? He learned his destiny. I want you to have this message so you will be inspired to find God's destiny for your life. If you'd like to get this free audio CD or download it now as an MP3 file, just visit our website, markgorman.com. And on the home page, click the link for the free audio. And if you live in the New Orleans area, come visit us at Grace Christian Center in 2 locations. On Saturdays at 6 p.m., we have our North Shore service in Slidell at 3648 Pontchartrain Drive, that's Highway 11. And Sundays at 10:45 a.m., we meet at 1301 Metairie Road. For more information, visit our church website, gccnola.com. Thank you, and God bless you.